Today, we're taking the next step in our series video about how to set up your photography business. So let's get into it. So after the first step of seeing if you need to buy a camera or not, the next step is setting up your business. So this is about finding your name and your identity. And what I mean by that is you want to find a name that kind of represents you and also something that kind of works with what you're trying to do. So for example, I named myself KandidVision, and I wanted to kind of have a personal aspect to it, but also something more like that I can pass on to someone else if I needed to. So my reasoning for having KandidVision with a K is my name, Kareem, and the rest of it is just the rest of the words normally written, and then media, which means I can expand to everything else. It's not just photography. So it depends if you want to kind of stay focused on photography or if you want to become like a media person. So then you'd want to have your name like that. One big thing to make it kind of funny, or I should say punny, is you can have it as like a pun. So let's say legendary photography if my name was John Legend instead of having John Legend photography. You know, either one works, but some of them have a different aspect to it. And sometimes if it's more funny, it attracts more people to look at your page because it's like, oh, what does this person have? And that brings me to my next point, which is finding social media to put it on. And the biggest ones are obviously Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, everything. You want to just reserve everything because that's something that's gonna make sure that everyone knows that you're there. And those are also the biggest platforms, which means that's the biggest place of your growth. So those are some of the few that I'd recommend to go right away and just reserve your name as soon as you can. Because then you'd kind of determine, is this something that I could do, or is it something that I have to spend more time on as well? Because as you realize with your name, you're gonna have to put effort into it, and then that's something that'll stick with you forever. And especially as a photographer or someone, you're not gonna change your name that often because that's gonna mean that your growth will be also hindered, and also people are not gonna be able to find you as easily. Definitely put a lot onto your name. And there's two pro tips I'm gonna tell you. One pro tip is try to refrain from having numbers in it. So this is kind of with an asterisk, where if it has, like, for example, legendary, you can put like the E as a 3. You know, that's something okay, but it looks more like, it looks still professional in some way. But for the most part, refrain from having numbers, because especially long sequential numbers, which like for example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it just looks off, and it, especially as a business, it doesn't show professionalism as much. So that's one thing. Definitely refrain from numbers unless it obviously means a lot to you, or if you really want that name for some reason, like on social media, like legendary photography 2, something like that. Like, you know, you could do something like that, especially if you have multiple accounts. That's another thing. Just have it a number like that, but refrain from numbers as much as possible, especially on your thing, especially if you make this into a business registered by the government and stuff like that. The second pro tip, make sure that you're researching your name, because you don't want to have someone take your name or have your name, because your name is what will identify you, and if you don't have that name, your growth will be gone. So basically people will be going everywhere. So you want to try to own that name as much as possible. And also the biggest thing is you don't want to get sued or something like that, where someone's kind of like saying, oh, you're taking my business away, so, you know, I'm going to take your name legally or something like that. So, you know what I mean? It's, you want to make sure that you cover all your bases and just kind of have something that's why having a name that's more tied to you is probably safer, because it's more something that will define you and people will know you. And also it's not likely that someone's going to take that as much. Something more generalized is going to be most likely taken. So you want to really take a look and make sure. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like this video, please comment and subscribe down below and follow along, because we're gonna create a lot of these videos to kind of show you the step-by-step guide on becoming beginner to pro. So follow along, and I have TikTok, Instagram, so follow me on that. And I really hope you got value out of this video. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Bye.